In this video today, what I want to talk to you about is the mild difference between speculating, or as I call it, sort of like having a punt, and basically making concerted bets that are designed to exploit prices and exploit things that you know to be true, that the information is not basically out there, valuing whatever the fuck it is you're betting on correctly, or arbitrage, or whatever the hell it is that basically makes it sort of close to a sure thing. Basically, the reason I'm going to show you this is because I have basically made a bet, and the bet I have done is putting money on Andrew Cuomo to win the presidential election. You may recall, if you've been watching my videos, that most of that fucking money has already been sorted out. I've been riding that fucker for the last 12 months, basically grandstanding over Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. You'll see in my other video, which was titled How You Should Have Bet on the American Election, where I talk extensively about how that bet should have gone down, and about how I did it, and about how what I could have done if I had the right money at the right time, due to me, as usual, my own fucking absent-mindedness, me and my biggest weakness in life, fucking that whole thing up. But basically what I want to talk to you about today is, in the context of this cunt, is basically speculating versus what I would call betting. Because there's a reason I'm betting on Cuomo today. The Tara Reade thing has really fucked Joe Biden, and it's coming around in a way where I'm thinking the Democrats are kind of getting baited into thinking, at least the journalists are, into thinking that they have to come up with answers for it. The interesting thing is the politicians are just coming out and flat denying it and saying they're with Joe Biden. That's actually the best move they can make. They've probably realised off the bat there's no winning move, so the only winning move is unity. That's the best move. They're able to play fucking chess at some level. The journalists, however, are either torn emotionally and morally, or they are literally torn in terms of how do we resolve this conflict. But the issue is, if that's what they're doing, and a lot of them are doing this, just acknowledging and trying to resolve the conflict in and of itself, and trying to get your hands about how the conflict is framed, is in and of itself just prolonging it, right? The basic gist of it, though, is that I think that they're being played into just trying to like fucking resolve this and answer this, and the Republicans need to pounce. And I haven't seen a huge amount of it, because usually what they fucking do in situations like this is basically just point out the hypocrisy. They have done that, which is good, but basically Trump would be best to do this, or someone who's in Trump's league who isn't Trump, basically to say the occasional thing that is just going to rile them into in our anger, or righteous indignation, or a sense of injustice tilt, and get them to start fucking just writing articles off the fucking ears. I've talked about it in that last video, which is on strategy, but this one is on betting. In the meantime, I actually think that, listen, I'm buying Cuomo now. The reason I'm buying Cuomo is for the following reasons. One, I can afford to. And the reason I can afford to is because I've already got so much equity on the fucking presidential election locked in. I had about 10K worth locked in, that it didn't even fucking matter if I put money on other cunts. All it would mean at the end of the year is I won less money, okay? So I'm not losing money on this. Technically, in the expected value EV sense, I'm fucking losing money. In that intangible way of creating value, or assigning value to things with odds and equity. But in the true sense of what money I got now, I'm not going to lose fucking chips off the table at the end of the year. And there's going to be less cash, but I'll still win something. I'm not going to be in the red. Because of that, I thought it would be useful, and I think this is valuable, and to think a few hills ahead here, basically to bet on Andrew Cuomo as an alternative to Joe Biden if things get worse. Now Joe Biden is in a situation now where things can get worse. That's the thing. I am basically betting against Joe Biden. That's what the bet is. Andrew Cuomo is a logical follow-up. I've put a little bit on Hillary Clinton with my fucking stomach turning at the idea of just at knowing that, trying to put a hedge on her. It felt dirty like thinking about fucking like betting on Elizabeth Warren when she was like shorted in price. It's just like, oh, this feels wrong. Just wrong because it just doesn't seem like it makes sense, but you're sort of like, Cuomo is good though, because Cuomo is now trading for 65 to 1. Do you know what that means? It means if you put $2,000 on Cuomo, you could win $130,000, right? That is a fuck ton of money. And for me, basically right now, it is worth me speculating on basically Joe Biden's health and where Joe Biden goes, whether or not Joe Biden gets turned on. Because honestly, this needs to drag on, and then Joe Biden needs to perform badly in public in a senile way and then it's going to be one, obvious to the fucking DNC that this is just not the best candidate anymore, and two, it actually gives them sort of like an excuse to get rid of him for the Tara Reid reason, but mostly because they could say it's to do with his health, right? Whereas right now it kind of will look like they're backing down if they chuck this cunt to the sidewalk, which they'd probably do anyway, but they probably think they can write it out anyway. So basically what I'm looking for now, I've got him at 65 to 1. I've got him, so I will win 100k if he wins the president. Obviously I'll be hedging with Trump. But what I'm looking for now, Michael Malice, who is a interesting commentator on politics in America and various other things, charming young gentleman, basically has said on Twitter, and I really like the way he's put this, is that you need to look out now for two kinds of articles. One kind of article is when the Hillary-backed media has started making articles shit-talking Andrew Cuomo, and the other one is when they start discussing like who would be a good replacement. They have already started that. That happened the day after, not the Andrew Cuomo Hillary thing, but they already just started discussing possible replacements like literally a day after. And they've had multiple opinion pieces from major organizations saying that he needs to step down. So this is already going perfectly in my hands. All it's going to take now, I think, is even if this drags for a while, I mean, they might just back themselves in. But if he starts looking really fucking bad in public, like has another bad public display, I don't think they can do it at that point. I would already be looking to get him off the card if I was in the DNC. I have given advice about PR in this channel, and I said what should Joe Biden do and what should Trump do. And where I'm at with Joe Biden now is they just need to get rid of Joe Biden. I don't think Joe Biden performs anywhere near as well. I think that they're reading the polls and not reading the situation. I think they're playing by the numbers and not playing by the field. And I don't think that that's a good idea right now. And I don't think that they're going to, basically, I think for a lot of reasons, they're probably not going to take that risk until they realize, shit, the polls are moving away from him. But by then, it'll be too late. So I don't know where the fuck this is going to go. But the thing is, this cunt can hardly talk. The thing that should have been more alarming to the Democrats than anyone else than even the Tara Reid thing was seeing how Joe Biden responded to it in that video. Because eventually he's going to have to go on camera and perform in like halfway difficult interviews, or even just perform in normal interviews. And then they're not going to be able to cover his ass continually, okay? Because Trump is going to destroy this cunt. He's going to make sure that every fucking media appearance he's in, whether or not he's replying to Trump or not, he has to be backing himself up against some claim that Trump has said for the express purpose of putting Joe Biden in a position where it's really just difficult and aggravating and like upsetting and annoying for him to have to respond to that allegation or that issue. Trump is going to fucking ride that fucker into the ground, right? It would be it's very good for my bet to see two key red flag indicators. One of them I've already seen, which is they're discussing basically replacements. Two is obviously going to be the Cuomo press, but that's kind of a funny one. Third one is going to be see how many weeks does this go on? How long does it get dragged? A fourth one can be basically if any other new allegations come out or there's any kind of major updates or a minor update. And even that's not huge though. Fifth is basically if he has more than one more performance, which is very public to the point where it has to get fucking thrown through the media of him just not looking like he's there. Because at that point, it's just going to be like, we're going to have to replace this cunt, or Americans going to vote for him, independents are, just because they actually don't think that this guy is like actually even capable of fucking just doing this job. Like, or any job, like at all. Like he's just an old fucking grandpa man who can't do shit. So that's what I'm looking for. Right now, I'm looking to win 100k on Cuomo. I got him at about 55 to 50 to 1, which is not bad. And I've got 3k liability on that entire bet across several candidates. 17k if Hillary wins. It's 8k now if Biden wins, and obviously 100k if Cuomo wins. As you can probably see, I am minimizing my potential gain on the more likely outcomes, i.e. Biden mostly, and the Biden-Trump turnout. And I'm doing that because I really want to speculate hard on Cuomo. And the reason I want to speculate hard on Cuomo is because I've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Because for me, it's not about, this isn't like fucking cerebral. It's a big deal for me to win $100,000 to $200,000 on a fucking candidate in political betting after I've done it 2 years than it is to fucking just win the best EV fucking decision I can make on a smaller candidate, because it's a fucking career, right? First of all, that's big money for me. That changes things. Second of all, it fucking gives me a chance to go on fucking camera and say I want to fucking talk about this, and I'm fucking someone who, as a journalist, you got to listen to, right? Because money fucking talks. I can give the fucking story. I'm good at that. But anyway, it doesn't really matter either way, because we're just going to watch this unfold. I don't really give a fuck, because I'm going to win money either way. Right now, I'm betting on a bunch of shit. I'm betting on residential housing prices. I just got done betting on the RBA. I was betting on the vice presidential candidate, but I withdrew that funding at a profit, by the way, hedging a profit, in order to fucking stack on Andrew Cuomo. Because the speculation is just too good. The defining logic you need to take away from this is there's bets where you're trying to chip every edge you have, and I think that there's bets where it's very hard to calculate that edge, but you're kind of having a punt just because the perceived payoff is so huge and the possibility is still enough that it's going to be sort of like a game-changing money for you. Now, I don't think I want to put that in as a particular strategy because it just isn't, and this is not something that I would ever talk about with formal betting. But I'm just making the claim here that this is speculation. This is me throwing a bit of cash on the wind to see if I can catch some fire. Because if it does, the payout is so fucking disproportionately great for me than what the fucking particular specific sacrifice is. Which at this point, by the way, isn't even going to be a fucking loss of money because I've already fucking backed up on Trump and Biden. What it means is instead of winning 5 to 10k at the end of the year, I'll win 2.5 to 5k at the end of the year, and I can fucking live with that. Big time. Anyway, take care, stay tuned, I'll give you more updates in the future. Peace.